Guys, it's been quite a while now since I've done any videos about life in Japan, and I was hesitant to put up this video because I don't want it to seem like I'm slandering the Japanese or saying anything derogative or whatever, you know, negative towards them, because as I said in one of my other recent videos, I feel a lot more home here than I do back in Australia, and a lot of people don't want to hear that and don't want to agree with it and whatever the fuck, I don't really care, but I've been back and forth here for nearly 10 years, so you know, this is definitely home to me now, and I don't want to be dissing them in any way. However, there are some things here, there's bad apples in every bunch, there's a lot of shit that happens in Australia, America, wherever, and look, there's things that happen here that just kind of take you by surprise a lot of the time, because everyone's just chilled and for lack of a better term, pretty docile a lot of the time, probably because they work their asses off, and you know, they're just slaves to their trade. They're really committed. They're just really focused. And anyway, when shit happens here, it happens really bad. So things are, you know, just a different level of intensity. That's all I can say. So anyway, with the trains, you know, a lot of these guys will, especially on the Saikyo line from between Saitama and Tokyo, it's just renowned for that. You know, you're literally like this, you're pressed up against people, but guys will fill up girls all the time. I don't know any girl that has been on the Saikyo line on one of those trains and hasn't been molested, and that's quite fucked up. But they did a review of this, and they said that 90-something% of women don't report it, and you know, even further of those that actually do, the cases, you know, the guy's never caught anyway. So it's kind of one of those things that's just accepted here, and I don't think that that's, I just don't think that's acceptable. You know, I don't think that accepting that as the norm, or to be just something that fucking happens, is okay. And they've tried to do things about it. They've written on the big things in the station, like let's stop molesting, or stop molesting girls, and that they make separate female carts between this time and that time, you know, during whatever. And you know, I think that's great and everything, but I think people need to be pushed to say something and do something. So anyway, I was on the way to Osaka with my brother when he came over here, and I see this drunk dude approach, you know, this is really early in the morning, and there's a girl asleep, and he's looking around. I can see he's looking for a target. I'm like, you fucker. I can see it, and then he sees her, and he goes and lays against her and tries to, you know, pretend like he's fallen asleep too, but then he's like putting his hand on her leg and putting his arm around her and all this, and she's like, what the fuck? And she wakes up, she's looking around as if to see if someone else has seen this, and I'm like, hey, come over here, come sit here, there's a spare seat right here, I'm with my daughter, I'm with my brother and shit, and I'm like, it's okay, come sit here. I'm looking at him, and he's still pretending to be asleep, you know, and she gets the sort of courage to move up and get over, here. I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, whoa, you know, kind of freaked out and shit. And my brother's like, don't do anything, you know, don't do anything, leave it alone, whatever. And this guy just pretends to sort of get up and then go walk in and looks in the next cart for his next sort of victim. I'm like, what the fuck? So I took a photo of this on my iPad. Before I said to her, hey, come over, because I could see what was going on. I was going to video record it for evidence and then grab the guy and then show the evidence. But anyway, I was coming back from somewhere else, I can't even remember, it might have been Nikko or somewhere, I went on another trip, and I'm on the train next to this guy. It looks like a normal as fuck guy. You like your face on the internet, huh? And you know, he's got his phone like that, and it's next to me, I'm looking over, I'm just you know, looking around, and I see that he's zooming in on this girl's like skirt, and she's kind of sitting here like this, and you can clearly see, you know, whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And I look at it, and I said to the people around, is anyone else seeing this cunt here? And they're like, what? They don't appreciate the fact that I'm kicking off. They don't want the big foreigner to pick on the little Japanese guy. I'm like, no, fuck that. I said, yo, to these chicks, I said, yo, do you know this guy? And they're like, no. I said, why the fuck are you taking photos of them? And he's like, oh, I don't know, no reason, like this. And I grabbed him, I'm like, okay, motherfucker, how do you like it? And I got my camera here, as you can see. I'm on the train now with this dirty fucker here, and he's taking photos of these girls. You see that? This guy here, you like that? You like your face on YouTube? You like your face on the internet? Huh? You like that? I told him to delete the photos. And he's like pretending he doesn't know what's going on. Then I see the photos and he's been zooming in up their skirts, a dirty old fuck. Watch out. Piece of shit. Now he's just standing there like it's all cool. No one else around, he's not gonna say shit. Now, as you can see from that video, the mistake I made was getting the guy to delete the photos. I guess I was in a bit of a heated moment and I was like, delete a motherfucker, whereas I could have just grabbed him, ripped him off the train, brought him to the police station with his phone in my hand and the girls and got them to say something. But if I didn't go that far, if I didn't do that, nothing would happen. Just showing his face on the internet can get me in trouble because, you know, I don't have evidence that he was doing it other than the fact that he said, yeah, I did, but, you know, I don't really know him and whatever. And he didn't really care. I stood next to him. I'm like, I want to punch his fucking head in so bad because I believe that, yeah, there's patience and tolerance and compassion and gotta be loving to everyone and all that shit, but sometimes you just gotta fucking instigate karma. You know, when there's absolute cunts out there like this who go and pick on fucking smaller, weaker targets, especially women, he needs to learn a fucking lesson. So if I see that shit kicking off in front of me, I'm certainly not gonna stand for it. I don't trust that that fucker has learned his lesson, and if anything like that happens again, I want to report it. So but I was actually on my way home, I was with my kid, and I said to her, step aside, because I was just gonna fucking smack this guy. There's no other cameras around. This guy was in the you know, there's no cameras inside the train. There's no one willing to step in and say anything. But when I started saying, this motherfucker right here is taking photos of these girls and is fucking, you know, what do you call, like, what do you call, pervert, right? So I'm calling him all these things, and no one gave a fuck. Everyone was just looking at me like, why are you kicking off? You know what I mean? I'm talking normal as fuck Japanese, you know what I mean? Like, you can see my other videos, I speak normally, as in fluently and whatever. And I'm going, no one else wants to fucking do something about this? Everyone thinks this is okay and no one said shit. So, you know, you can see one of my other videos that I just put up about a lady kicking off across the street over here and starting fights with people and why I didn't call the police on that sort of thing. It's just things that are accepted here and things that people, you know, the fact that people don't want to get involved kind of fucks me off. But as in, it's frustrating. I don't look down on them. I don't think that, as in the population of Japanese people, I don't think that they're any lesser or whatever. I'm just saying that that's just how they are. They don't want to get involved. They'd rather move on and be about their own business. But for me, if someone is a victim to harassment or anything of that nature, then I can't sit or stand by and just watch that happen, you know. So that's why I got involved. So let me know your comments, let me know what you think, let me know maybe what you would have done. Please just be aware, again, the last thing I want to say is that I'm definitely not trying to say all Japanese are like this. I see other people, when I posted that photo of him on Facebook, some people are like, oh, fucking Japs, la la. I said, no. Not all Japanese are like that. There are just there's some bad people in every race, in Australian, American, English, wherever the fuck you go, there's going to be bad people, okay? And I'm not just trying to expose that about here. I just want to make that very clear. So please don't be about that. That's very close-minded and too negative for here. So again, that's just something I dealt with living here, and that's something I promised that I was going to put up. And from a self-protection point of view, any of the RCI instructors that want to put their comments, please go ahead. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe. Cheers.